The idea struck me yesterday that I really should step you through what a typical day can be like in my life. It's actually a lot more diverse than some people might think. I have, as you know, one child at school and one child who is homeschooled. I have a private practice in Tasmania, two private practices in Tasmania, because I've actually separated the locations now into two separate entities. And of course I have my mentoring business, which is an online business, which I am now running from my base, my new base here in Melbourne. People ask me pretty much every day, how do you do what you do? So if I step you through what an average day looks like for me, it'll give you some idea of the skill you need as an entrepreneur to be able to regularly switch hats throughout your day. So for me, I'm usually awake by 5:30 in the morning, and I have my first meeting of the day typically at 6 a.m. Which is what I did this morning. Tomorrow morning will be a little bit different. I'm skipping the 6 a.m. meeting because I'll be running a podcast interview at 6:30 tomorrow with Mark Drager, who's based in Canada. So juggling time zones is a big issue for me. 8:30 this morning I had a meeting with my agent in New York, and we talked a little bit of strategy, a little bit of planning, what we're going to be doing this year. And then I walked my son to school through this beautiful park. Doesn't suck. Miles, meanwhile, the dog visits all the other dogs, gets his exercise and his little toilet visit in. So that's like the start of my day, and I'm already on a roll. When I'm walking back home through the park, I'm thinking about what can I be doing today? How can I utilize my time? Have I got time now to do a live stream to bring people up to speed with whatever topic it is burning a hole in my brain that particular day? Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. This morning, 9:30, I am meeting up with Evan Carmichael, who I meet with monthly. We do a podcast together. It's kind of a podcast. It's a YouTube video that we do every month. He's in Puerto Rico, so we've had to juggle times again. So you get used to having to be a bit flexible. When you run an online business, of course, people can be anywhere in the world. So understanding time zones, understanding how you can be flexible with your day, understanding that, you know, if I'm up at 5:30 every morning, I'm not going to be hosting podcast interviews at 11 p.m. at night. That just isn't going to work for me. So we try and juggle and negotiate and backwards and forwards until we find the right time. Usually to take the, what's the word I'm looking for here? To take the that ping pong that goes on with emails out of the equation, I will usually send people my diary, a link to my online diary, and say, you find the time that works for you. Because of course I've got times when I'm unavailable blocked out, so they can just pick a time that's available for me. That takes a lot of time and hassle out of my day, a lot of the stress out of my day. So then so on a Monday morning, I have about 3 hours straight of mentoring and support for my team in my practice. Tuesday is a full-on online business coaching day for me. I usually have 5 or 6 solid hours of business coaching. It's a meaty day. I love my Tuesdays. Wednesdays have become my homeschool outing day. So yesterday you might have seen lots of silly videos from the gallery as we went to explore some Japanese exhibits, have some Japanese lunch, and generally be silly buggers in the National Gallery of Victoria. Thursdays I'll do a bit more business coaching in the mornings, and then afternoons for homeschooling, and Fridays are anyone's guess. Weekends are for the family. So what I'm getting really skilled at is, so yesterday was a jam-packed day. I had big emails to go out in the morning yesterday before I could go out and do my activity at the museum. I got back, I had more big emails, big Voxer conversations, big phone calls, lots of stuff, and then picking up my young son from school, and then just being focused on the kids for the afternoon. And my husband, who of course at the moment is flying in and flying out from Hobart. So we spent about an hour on the phone yesterday while he was driving through the countryside of Tasmania. So, juggling, balancing, switching hats, being flexible is key. So when you've got multiple businesses, when you've got multiple roles, that we all have multiple roles, right? But when you're juggling that every day, like I do with homeschooling and one child at school, plus a dog who needs to come outside and poo occasionally, I get very flexible in my day. I get used to taking one hat off, putting the other hat on, taking another hat off, putting another hat on, and merging seamlessly from one role to the next. I try very hard, and I've talked a lot about this, to have what I call a static diary, so I know what each day's theme is, and that works really, really well for me. You might try that in your own diary, having a static diary. So Mondays are for my team, Tuesdays are for my coaching clients, Wednesdays are for outings, excursions, that sort of thing, and so on. So being flexible, being dynamic, being rubbery around time. So I never assume a 9-to-5 day. I can't, because a lot of what I do is in different time zones. I've got a number of West Australian clients who I think are 3 hours behind us at the moment. So I need to be flexible. I absolutely don't work myself to the bone. I absolutely have downtime during the day, every day, and I absolutely focus on how much sleep I'm getting, how much rest I'm getting, and how much present time, like being really present with my kids and my husband. So I factor that into my balance, I factor that into my day. So if you're contemplating entrepreneurship, if you're contemplating business ownership and you're worrying about how you're going to juggle all the things, don't worry about it so much. Don't overthink it. I remember when my babies were teeny tiny, especially when my second son was born, and I was figuring out how to get out the door with a toddler and a baby. And I remember just deliberately not thinking about it. Just grab one baby under one arm and the other baby under the other arm, nappy bag over the shoulder, and just go out the door. Because if I overthink it, I never would have left the house. And it's a bit like that with business. You've got to think about, if I don't do this thing, I'm never going to do this thing. If it doesn't work out, like if I'd gotten out the door and gotten to my destination and realized I didn't have any nappies with me, I would have figured it out. I would have dealt with it. Like, it would have been okay. No one would have died for lack of nappies. So I want you thinking about what brave steps that you can take to overcome the fear that you can't fit everything in, because you absolutely can. There's nothing special about me in terms of what I do and what I juggle. It's just that I have decided, and this is the point, I have decided that this juggle is what I want. This is how I like to live my life. I'm actually energized by days like yesterday where I was juggling all the things. So, and of course, I was in bed by 9:30, out like a light, slept really well, up this morning, ready for a 6 a.m. meeting, feeling really good, feeling really positive about the day. So I want you thinking about that. I want you thinking about, am I overthinking what I need to pack into my day? Am I making it more than it is? Don't leave self-care out of the juggle, though. It's really, really important. I don't want you grinding yourselves down to the bone. That doesn't serve you, doesn't serve your business, doesn't help the community. What's it for? There's no point to that. So make sure that each day you've got something, even if it's just a little walk in the park with the dog each day, to just lift you back into that fullness of being who you are and what you're about and what you can offer your community. So I'm now going to go and find my dog, who's no doubt made some friend here in the park. Oh, he's definitely made some friends here in the park, and head back into my apartment and go and talk to Evan Carmichael. So you have a fabulous day, and I will talk to you very much soon. Bye for now.